So we're a local Fort Lauderdale agency here in Broward County. We work with intended parents and clinics and from all over. Our intended parents come. Such a huge international destination. Florida's got fantastic laws here. We have 2 legal statutes. Everybody's legally protected, whether you're married, whether you're just together and going forward, you know, before marriage, or maybe choosing never to get married. But you're legally protected. I'll be upfront. I don't know how much as far as the legality, the legals, the statutes, and things like that. But I'll tell you a little bit about the birth certificates, because it's always something that, like one of the big things intended parents want to know about. In the state of Florida, at the time of birth, the surrogate's name is placed onto the birth certificate for a very short time. The legal statute, your contracts that are drafted between you and your surrogate are 100% legally binding. You're 100% protected. At the same time, in Florida, we do a pre-birth order. A lot of the risk managers at the hospital want to know it, that they're done. They want to see them. The reason is that the pre-birth order is during the 2nd trimester of the pregnancy. The attorney that represents you will go back to court. The judge will sign off on the pre-birth order. And so at the same time, we know who the judge is. The baby's born. 3 days later, your attorney goes back to court, has all the documents signed off, the affirmation of parental rights. Everything's expedited to vital statistics. And in about a 3-week window, the latest, it's based on caseload at vital statistics, you'll have your new birth certificate. So the surrogate's name's removed, your names are on the birth certificate, and the rest is hidden in the courts, the original birth certificate. So you're totally protected as far as that. Some intended parents get a little scared that their name's not on the birth certificate at first, but the hospitals also recognize you as the intended parents. The attorney that represents you will also make contact with the risk manager at the hospital, letting them know that a surrogate birth is coming in. And the hospitals are really accommodating, and they're really wonderful, and they're so excited, like they've never seen a baby born in the labor and delivery floor. They're in awe of the whole concept that it's a gay parent. They're so excited for that. Just the whole dynamics. They're so welcoming, and it's so warming, the hospitals. They just go out of their way. So the attorneys that represent you will also do their best to get private rooms. The surrogates, they really love involvement in the whole process, the whole journey. They don't place any expectations on you moving forward that you have to send pictures, that they're going to become the mothers and the aunts. That's not the case. But they also just organically, naturally, you just see beautiful, friendships evolve out of them. And life goes on, and some intended parents will flood surrogates with pictures, and some intended parents will just send milestones and things like that. But the surrogates don't place that expectation on you for that lifetime, commitment of a friendship and stuff. But they do. They happen and stuff. The surrogates, they're very welcoming of you into the transfer rooms, into the the delivery room at the hospital. As far as the C-section, sometimes they'll want a significant other, but they always have at least one intended parent in there as well. And sometimes the hospital, it depends on the doctor, they may let 3 people in, but for the most part, as far as, being involved, the babies go directly to you, to start all that nurturing and all the poodles and the adorableness and stuff. So as far as the agency, we do both surrogacy and the egg donor. We have a live egg donor database that you're welcome. We have one agency fee, so if you're doing both, we waive the agency fee on the egg donor side, and you're welcome to look through the database and select donors and stuff. And we always ask intended parents, when you're looking to pick your top 3, if there's anything that, as far as like you wanted more information on the egg donor, there's a small percentage of egg donors that are willing to meet intended parents. It doesn't happen often, but it's possible if it's something that's important to you. If it's important to you that the egg donor has that future contact, maybe your children in the future want to meet who the egg donor was, that's something to consider, when you're looking at the egg donor applicants and stuff, if it's important to you. But the contracts, for the most part, everything's anonymous as far as the way we draft our egg donor contracts. I tell intended parents, it's pretty much a wash now with all this 23andMe and all the genetic testing and the things like that. I think people are going to be able to find people more easily and stuff. I've had intended parents over the years come back to me and tell me more about their egg donor than I even knew about the egg donor, because they'll do, I don't know, there's software that you could take pictures and reverse it and find them. And so, yeah, I've had that before. But, at the end of the day, if it's an important factor for you to get to know your egg donor, definitely, consider looking for applicants that are open to that in the future contact and things like that. As far as, the things that we do, our surrogates predominantly are in Florida. We try, but it is such a huge attraction in Florida because of the laws and stuff. Compensation packages, average first-time carriers now, because we have to stay within reason of our surroundings and stuff, is roughly about $30,000 to $35,000 now egg donor surrogate compensation packages. A whole entire process, it varies by, where people become cost effective. It really depends if they're looking to create embryos from each of you, the frozen egg banks versus the fresh egg banks and things like that. And that's where the variable is on the cost, being cost effective. But a whole journey with everybody involved, the lawyers, the clinics, the medications, the egg donors, the agency, the comp packages, roughly about 120, really it's between that 120, 130, depends on which way you're going with the eggs. That's really the big difference in the cost and stuff. A lot of intended parents now are doing more and more testing, as far as gender selection. Also, what else can I tell you? The insurance is a huge thing I talked about earlier, so I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything. Insurance is a huge thing. Florida is not a state to offer a mandate infertility coverage, so the probability of a surrogate presenting herself with proper insurance is nil. I've never met one yet. They tell me they have great insurance, and then I get it verified, and I'm like, big clause. But we do have policies, for the last, I think, 4 years we've been using Florida Blue. I don't know what it's going to be next year, but we also go with the private policies, which I try to avoid at all costs. I've only had 2 people utilize it. I have a really fantastic insurance agent, so I've been fortunate. The carriers can't be on any form of government assistance whatsoever. So we've had a really good opportunity to get carriers onto insurance throughout the year and stuff. So it's really worked out nicely as far as that goes, because it's important. The babies are covered on the insurance of yours. Typically I tell intended parents, contact your provider, like the second trimester, just to get a feel and directions, because every provider might be different. You might be with Humana or Cigna. They might say, hey, call us the day the baby's born. We'll add the baby to the insurance, things like that. So the baby's covered, which is a nice thing. You're international, right? Yeah. So international, you're responsible for the baby insurance and stuff. So there are policies. It gets a little costly. That's why, for international intended parents, I highly recommend single embryo transfers, singletons. There's many more options with the insurance. The insurance gets astronomical when you're dealing with twins on an international level and stuff like that. But as far as, utilizing, there are options for you, singletons and stuff. Any questions? Go ahead.
So, since you're talking about twins, right? So what's the cost of the whole journey cost for the twin?
There's a couple options with the maternity insurance on the twins, on the international intended parents. You're not, so if you're not you're a U.S. citizen, so you're surrogate, you're fine. Your baby, you'll just get your own, you have insurance, right? You have a health care policy that you would. Right. So you just call your insurance company and say, my babies were born, and they're added. The surrogate will have a separate maternity policy that you're responsible for.
But for the whole journey cost, for...
The whole journey with everything involved, the baby's covered on your insurance, so that's outside. You're looking between 120 to 130,000. Really,
even with twins?
With twins,
yeah.
the surrogate compensation, we only increase it. They get a twin fee for carrying a twin. It's roughly about $5,000, and then count on a C-section, so another $4,000. So an additional $9,000 to their compensation packages. And the twin fee, starts typically at like 19 weeks gestation, and it's paid over 5 equal payments and stuff. So at the end of the day, a surrogate that's a first-time carrier that's carrying a twin pregnancy, her comp package probably be like 35, like 40 to 45,000 and stuff. So. Well, with that 120 to 130, you would just add on a $5,000. It's pretty standard universal, $5,000 for a twin and $4,000 for a C-section, because the probability is a C-section for sure.
130 to 140.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So you had a question?
Yeah, I was just curious. In terms of your surrogates, number one, in terms of there's not being defined under your selection of the screen.
Uh-huh.
And number two, how willing or how common is it for the surrogates that you have to be able to want to carry twins?
That's it really. They all tell me on their applications that they're willing to carry triplets, and I'm like, okay, like I have to see, it really, like Amanda was a carrier, I would never have ever thought to put her with anybody that was wanting twins. So I have to look also, at their built and stuff. I'm just hoping that would help the situation. I'll be honest, and I've only had 3 sets of twins go to the NICU, but nothing medical, nothing more than whether it was 5 days to like 2 weeks. really, I think the science and the medication, everything, the egg donors and yourselves go through such extensive genetic testing, and more intended parents are creating these embryos, and then they're genetically testing those embryos. So the science is just at the highest. It's such an exciting time. So, yeah. Any other questions? It's not a standard of practice with embryos that are created from an egg donor, but more and more people are doing it for family balancing. I personally, I think I don't think I'd do it for that. I don't know, but I think it's just another level of comfort. Even though, it rules out Down syndrome, nothing's 100%, but it's 99%. So it gives you that extra peace of mind, even though the egg donors have gone through such extensive genetic testing as well as you. And every clinic varies. Some clinics just do your standard genetics. Some clinics are like 125 to 323 genetic mutations. So it really varies. But, I'm seeing a lot more people do it, for sure.
What's your percentage, like national, international couples?
A good 20% are international. Yeah. They, it's fun. It's very divided. Like here, all the Asian markets in California. Here, we have like a very big following from Argentina. I have a lot from Argentina and stuff. Norway, it's just odd places. Russia, they just come from Hong Kong. I don't know. I think people correlate South Beach, Miami. It's exciting and things like that. And we have great fertility doctors here, and we have great laws. It's a great state to enter into a surrogacy journey. It truly is. It really is. The science is like so exciting and stuff. So, any other questions?
Can you tell us more about your company? How long have you been in business?
Well, I started in Southern California. The agency in September will be 9 years. 9 years, and we're right here. Are you from? You're in Miami? We're here in Bayview Drive. Not that I expect, just right across the street. So yeah, I'm super involved. I run pretty much. I'm not a good delegator, so I'm really hands-on. Super hands-on and stuff, and everybody plays their parts and stuff, but I'm pretty much involved in all the things. I never miss, I should take that back, maybe 1%. I never miss the surrogate screening at their clinics. I go to their clinics for their initial screening, and also the transfers. Far and few between do I ever miss those two. Births, I don't attend hospital births because it's such an emotional, exciting day with your families, the surrogate's family, and then I come the next day because it's a lot of emotions and excitement that day, and I think it's just a really personal day for everybody involved on that part. So, yeah.
So you said the agency is about 9 years old. How long have you been doing all of this?
Well, I started in Southern California. I was a personal assistant for many years, and then I had a friend that worked in the industry at Egg Donation Inc., and I started just kind of hanging around over there, and then I just worked a little over there and did both of my jobs. Unfortunately, my boss was sick, and then he passed away, so I just stayed around another year and then came back to Florida and stuff, so, yeah.
How big your company?
How big? I do. I'm trying to think how many cases. The egg donor size changed drastically for us in the last 2-3 years. A lot of where we used to do 60 egg donor cases a year, we're really down because so many people are utilizing the frozen egg banks. And I really keep that donor database active for intended parents that are doing surrogacy. Surrogate cases, I think we did 61 or 2 last year. 61 or 62.
If I'm gonna pick you guys, and then we need to contact, do you guys contact different staff?
No.
Or different, or just
No,
one staff?
this is whoever, honestly, I run most of the cases and stuff, and then there's Gia. Amanda does all my social media, and she does she's the first point of contact with all the new carriers. They all talk to her first and stuff. So she was a carrier herself, so it's just nice for them to, I could speak all day long, but it's also nice for them to have that support and stuff. And then every Monday and Friday, we keep up with all of the carriers. If the carriers are local, I try every trimester to go to at least one appointment. So the Orlando girls, the Tampa girls, at least I see them at least 3 times during the pregnancy. And then my local girls, that's a whole different story. I get to be with them a lot, I go to a lot of appointments and stuff. So any other questions? No, all set. Well, thanks for coming. Thank you.